If these two poor people stay in this room for 50 days, they'll get $5 million. No cell phones, no fancy meals, just a big bed to sleep in. A couple took the challenge for $5 million. Michael pressed the red button on the wall and issued the challenge. The two people cheered at the idea of becoming rich in 50 days. They lay down on the floor and started planning for the future. Because $5 million is an infinite fortune to them, but it's hard for them to get $5 million from the organizers. Michael only stayed for one day and couldn't stay any longer because the organizers only give them a colorless, tasteless nutrient solution. One bottle at a time is enough to fill their stomachs. Michael looked at the 49 days on the wall and felt a little defeated. Catherine begins to persuade her husband. Since it's hard for ordinary people to win $5 million, the organizers are going to make them give it up. Catherine set up a fitness program for her husband to win the $5 million. She passed the time by meditating. Michael repeated the same thing every day and wanted to get out after 20 days. When the wife understood her husband's thoughts, she thought he had no stamina. They've been doing it for over 20 days, so they can't give up. However, the organizers told them they had 3 chances to buy something in those 50 days, but each time they had to spend $500,000. But instead of buying food to motivate himself, Michael spent $500,000 on a paintbrush. This man spent $500,000 on a paintbrush, but Michael bought the brush to relieve his boredom because they entered a challenge to win $5 million. By staying in this room for 50 days, Michael buys the brushes and draws on the walls, thinking that time has passed quickly. But the relationship between the two couples soon ran into problems. After spending so much time in the room, they had nothing left to say to each other. Michael pressed the pay button to pass the time, but this time, a beautiful woman appeared. Michael was surprised to see her, as he had only asked for a beer. The beautiful woman said she was a surprise gift. She could spend the next 10 days chatting with the couple and spending time with them. Michael was quick to explain to his wife that he had bought a bottle of beer, but the wife doesn't believe her husband and doubts his true intentions. As Michael tries to explain, the lights suddenly go out in the room. It turns out it's time for a break, but they have a problem. The 3 of them only have one bed to sleep in. Michael wanted to sleep on the floor at night, but the beautiful woman wouldn't let him. It's a damp night, and it's easy to catch a cold sleeping on the floor, as they still have 10 days before they can't go outside. They can't catch a cold or fever. The wife had to sleep in the middle to keep them apart, to preserve her husband's health. The 3 of them spent a long night together. The next day, Catherine awoke to find that the beautiful woman had disappeared, so she thought she'd already left. Instead, she went for a bath. Catherine didn't care and came out of the bathroom to find the 2 of them chatting happily. She saw this scene and took advantage of her last chance to buy something to buy 3 sleeping pills. Then Catherine took a sleeping pill. Michael saw that the pretty girl had also taken a sleeping pill and took one too. After they both woke up, the pretty girl disappeared again. Catherine thought she'd gone back to the bathroom, but when she opened it, she found no one there. When Catherine realized that the beautiful girl was gone, she felt very happy because that nasty woman was finally gone. The couple prepared to stay in the bedroom for the last few days. Catherine was surprised to find that the beautiful woman had left a farewell message on the wall. It was written on the wall that her husband had cheated on her, but it was the beautiful woman's way of slandering Michael. But Catherine didn't believe her husband's explanation and pushed him against the wall. This woman pushed her husband against the wall. As a result, her husband's head was bloodied from a direct hit. Turns out she suspected her husband was cheating on her. When Catherine saw this, she asked her husband if it was all right. Michael talked his wife out of it, thinking the organizers wouldn't let them have the $5 million. Turns out they entered a challenge to win $5 million by staying in this room for 50 days. But Catherine strongly disagreed with her husband because they've been at it for over 30 days. They only need 10 more days to win the prize. Seeing that her husband wanted to leave, she told him about a rule proposed by the organizers. If one of them left early, the organizers would reduce the $5 million to $1 million. The husband thought his wife was crazy and he wanted to leave. At that point, the wife threatened the husband with a gun and told him to stay. Michael was not afraid because Michael thought that being killed by his wife proved that she did not love him. When Michael pressed the switch, the wife did not shoot but watched her husband leave the room. Although Catherine felt very sad, she still wanted the $1 million. Without her husband's company, Catherine was bored every day at home and was gradually going crazy. 2 days before the end of the challenge, Catherine made a bold decision. She went to the front door and pushed the button. That's when Catherine realizes that family life is more important than money. In the end, Catherine returns home, ready to spend her life with her husband with a new mindset. This movie tells us that people die for money and birds die for food. However, people without money want to be rich, and people with money want to be richer, but we must learn to be satisfied, because greed is the ultimate killer of happiness.